Hi Kinderberry friends, it's Miss Hailey here with my friend the Lorax, and today is Earth Day and it is the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. So today I'm going to read you the book The Lorax by Dr. Seuss and give you a few tips on how to be planet friendly. So here we go. The Lorax by Dr. Seuss. At the far end of town, where the grickle grass grows, and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing, excepting old crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax. And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today, where the Lorax once stood, just as long as it could, before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax? And why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere from the far end of town where the grickle grass grows? The old Onceler lives here. Ask him. He knows. You won't see the Onceler. Don't knock at his door. He stays in his lurkum on top of his store. He lurks in his lurkum, cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of miff-muffered moof. And on special dank midnights in August he peeps out of the shutters. And sometimes he speaks and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you, perhaps, if you're willing to pay. On the end of a rope, he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents and a nail, and the shell of a great-great-great-grandfather snail. He pulls up the pail, makes a most careful count, to see if you've paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you've paid him away in his snub, his secret strange hole in his groovyless glove. Then he grunts, I will call you by wisp-o-ma-phone, for the secrets I tell are for your ears alone. Slup! Down slups the wisp-o-ma-phone to your ear, and the old Onceler's whispers are not very clear, since they have to come down through his snurgly hose, and he sounds as if he had smallish bees up his nose. Now I'll tell you, he says, with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It all started way back, such a long, long time back. Back in the days when the grass was still green, and the pond was still wet, and the clouds were still clean, and the song of the swami swans rang out in space, one morning I came to this glorious place, and I first saw the trees, the truffula trees, the bright-colored tufts of the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. And under the trees I saw brown barbaloots, frisking about in their barbaloot suits, as they played in the shade and ate truffula fruits. From the ripulous pond came the comfortable sound of the humming fish humming, while splashing around. But those trees, those truffula trees, all my life I'd been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tufts was much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk. I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what I'd do. I unloaded my cart. In no time at all, I had built a small shop. Then I chopped down a truffula tree with one chop, and with great skillful skill, and with great speedy speed, I took the soft tuft, and I knitted with need. The instant I'd finished, I heard a gazzup. I looked. I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I chopped down. It was sort of a man. Describe him? That's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish, and brownish and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. Mister, he said with a sawdusty sneeze, I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues, and I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs. He was very upset as he shouted and puffed, What's that thing you've made out of my truffula tuft? Look, Lorax, I said, there's no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree. I am doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a thneed. A thneed's a fine something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat, but it has other uses, yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or curtains, or covers for bicycle seats. The Lorax said, "Sir, you are crazy with greed. There is no one on earth who would buy that fool Thneed." But at that very minute, I proved he was wrong, for just at that minute a chap came along, and he thought that the Thneed I had knitted was great, and he happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the poor Lorax. "You poor silly guy. You never can tell what some people will buy." "I repeat," cried the Lorax, "I speak for the trees." "I'm busy," I told him. "Be quiet, if you please." I rushed across the room, and in no time at all, built a radio phone. I put in a quick call. I called on my brothers and uncles and aunts, and I said, "Listen here, here's a wonderful chance for the whole Onceler family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast, take the road to North Nitch. Turn left at Weehawken, sharp right at South Stitch." And in no time at all, in the factory I built, the whole Onceler family was working full tilt. We were all knitting Thneeds, just as busy as bees, to the sound of the chopping of truffula trees. Then, oh, baby, oh, how my business did grow. Now chopping one tree at a time was too slow. So I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which whacked off 4 truffula trees at one smacker. We were making Thneeds 4 times as fast as before. And that Lorax, he didn't show up anymore. But the next week, he knocked on my new office door. He snapped, "I'm the Lorax who speaks for the trees which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of the brown barbaloots who played in the shade in their barbaloot suits and happily lived eating truffula fruits. Now, thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffula fruit to go round. And my poor barbaloots are all getting the crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies." They loved living here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food, and I hope that they may. "Good luck, boys," he cried, and he sent them away. I, the Onceler, felt sad as I watched them all go. But business is business, and business must grow, regardless of crummies and tummies, you know. I meant no harm, I most truly did not, but I had to grow bigger, so bigger I got. I biggered my factory, I biggered my roads, I biggered my wagons, I biggered the loads of the Thneeds I shipped out. I was shipping them forth, to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north. I went right on biggering, selling more Thneeds, and I biggered my money, which everyone needs. Then again he came back. I was fixing some pipes, when that old nuisance Lorax came back with more gripes. "I am the Lorax," he coughed, and he whiffed. He sneezed and he snuffled, he snargled, he sniffed. "Oh, Onceler," he cried with a crofulous croak. "Oh, Onceler, you're making such smogulous smoke. My poor swami swans, why they can't sing a note. No one can sing who has smog in his throat." "And so," said the Lorax, "please pardon my cough. They cannot live here, so I'm sending them off. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape from the smog you've smogged up around here." "What's more," snapped the Lorax, his dander was up, "let me say a few words about gluppity-glup. Your machinery chugs on day and night without stop, making gluppity-glup, also sloppity-slop. And what do you do with this leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty old Onceler man, you. You're glumming the pond where the humming fish hummed. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off. Oh, their future is dreary. They'll walk on their fins and get woefully weary in search of some water that isn't so smeary." And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax. "Now listen here, Dad. All you do is yap yap and say bad, 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 bad. Well, I have my rights, sir, and I'm telling you I intend to go on doing just what I do. And for your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring. I'm biggering and biggering and biggering and biggering, turning more truffula trees into Thneeds, which everyone needs." And at that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From outside in the fields came a sickening smack of an axe on a tree. Then we heard the tree fall, the very last truffula tree of them all. No more trees, no more needs, no more work to be done. So in no time my uncles and aunts, every one, all waved me goodbye. They jumped into my cars and drove away under the smoke-smuggered stars. Now all that was left, 'neath the bad-smelling sky, was my big empty factory, the Lorax, and I. The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance, just gave me a very sad, sad backward glance, as he lifted himself by the seat of his pants. And I'll never forget the grim look on his face when he hoisted himself and took leave of this place, through a hole in the smog, without leaving a trace. And all that the Lorax left here in this mess was a small pile of rocks with the one word, unless. Whatever that meant, well, I just couldn't guess. That was long, long ago, but each day since that day, I've sat here and worried away. Through the years, while my buildings have fallen apart, I've worried about it with all of my heart. But now, says the Onceler, now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. So, catch, calls the Onceler. He lets something fall. It's a truffula seed. It's the last one of all. You're in charge of the last of the truffula seeds, and truffula trees are what everyone needs. Plant a new truffula, treat it with care, give it clean water, and feed it fresh air. Grow a forest, protect it from axes that hack. Then the Lorax and all of his friends may come back. The end. All right, friends, thank you so much for listening to my story. I hope you enjoyed it. And I just want to wrap up with giving you a few tips that can help you take better care of our earth moving forward. So one thing that you can do is you can plant a tree, probably not a truffula tree, but a different kind of tree. You can look up with your parents trees that are native to Minnesota that would do best here. I planted a dogwood in my backyard when I moved into my house, and it was about 18 inches tall, and now it's about 5 feet tall. So that's pretty exciting. You can also plant herb or vegetable gardens. My children and I, we planted some basil that we're gonna transplant to our backyard. And then also we have a little cucumber sprout coming up, which will also make it to our backyard when it gets a little warmer. Another thing that you can do to help the planet is to conserve energy by turning off lights when you leave rooms and turning off appliances when you're done using them. And appliances actually continue to use energy even when they're off if they're still plugged in. So you can also unplug appliances to help save energy as well. Another thing that you can do is to, instead of using plastic water bottles, you can use a reusable water bottle. This is mine. It goes with me everywhere. That's why my dragon that loves tacos is so beat up. But yeah, you just refill it with water and bring it with you whenever you go, and then you don't have to use disposable plastic water bottles. Another thing that you can do is you can go on a walk around your neighborhood or to one of your local parks, and you can clean up some of the trash that ends up on the ground. So I'd recommend bringing gardening gloves or rubber cleaning gloves just to be safe, and also bags to put it in. So you can do that with your parents. That's a nice way to clean up your neighborhood, make things look nicer. And you can even recycle some of the things that you find when you get home if you find any glass or plastic or aluminum. Just make sure that you always have parents with if you're picking up trash on the ground. Otherwise, just leave it be. Another thing that you can do is to walk or bike places when you have the option, when it's warm enough and when it's close enough, when you're with your parents. So sometimes instead of taking the car to a friend's house to drop you off or to the store to run some errands, if you're close enough, you guys can go on a family bike ride or a family walk. And that's a good way to save energy too, is using your car just a little bit less. And then One final way that you can help is to eat more plants and less animal products. So a fun way to do that could be trying to do meatless Mondays with your family, and that you guys can research recipes to try something new on like Monday nights for dinner. My kids really like lentil sloppy joes. We make black bean burgers, and then we do a lot of falafel, and they really like that. So that's something to try as well. So yeah, those are just a few little things that you guys can try to do at home to help our planet. And yeah, I miss you guys so much. I hope you're all doing well, and I'll see you soon. Bye.